Welcome to another episode of Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. Today we have Miss Untold, the big A, not the little one, A-list.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and grateful to be here, and I'm ready to get into it.
Let's get into it. So we talked about energy, right?
Yes.
And then you say like everything could be going by good, and then sometimes the devil's at work. How does that, how do you get through that or navigate through that?
So, first, I want to, since we're talking about the big A, not the little a, some people, they call me A-list. And in my community, I say that if you know what an A-list celebrity is, it is the highest ranking in society due to popularity and finances. But for me, I like to say that we are the A-list of our own lives. So A-list for me means a list of alchemizing women of the highest order of divinity, excellence, and admirable eminence. We make it happen. We don't make excuses. And within that definition, I put I said alchemizing, which is alchemy. And I believe that being the alchemist of your life will allow you to have a more fulfilling, more authentic, and peaceful way of living. Because like I said, well, you said that the devil is sometimes at play. But you have to be able to learn how to alchemize that and to really see okay, this is happening now, but I know this is preparing me for something greater later.
So you're speaking that in the aspects of, let's say, personal, religion, and spiritual. Are you saying it on those three levels?
With alchemy? It could be, all of that. Okay. I feel like we're just always going to go through things in life that we face adversity, whether it's business, whether that's personal, whether that's family, intimate partnerships, being at school, being at work, any of that. There's going to be tough energies that we're going to have to deal with. And it's up to you to be able to learn how to alchemize that. How are you going to face it? Are you going to respond or are you going to react?
How are you when at work?
I'm very responsive.
So
I don't react.
So you're very responsible. You're a smart aleck.
Yeah.
Sarcastic.
No, I'm not sarcastic. I read the room and I just handle it accordingly because I learned how to take things personally. You ever read the book, The 4 Agreements?
No.
Okay, that's a great book. I've been reading that book since 2016. I'm currently rereading it right now. And one of the agreements is not to take things personally, because once you do that, you start to internalize it. And then that's when that's when the devil comes in and starts to mess with you. Yes, there's some things that are going to trigger us and to be angry. We all have these emotions. But as far as in work, I'm not going to abrasively react to things if something triggers me. I'm going to observe what's happening, process it, and then I'm going to respond because I understand that, okay, I'm in an environment where, no, I can't just snap back or just be as sassy regardless of how that person is triggering me. I have to be able to be the alchemist and transmute that energy into something else. And if it escalates to something that's above me, then, just move accordingly. But I feel like having a higher level of decorum, especially in a public setting, it kind of can make or break you. So
I know it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to stress, it can lead to a conglomerate of things along the way. I think the way that you broke it down was just you're an A-list celebrity already in the making. And so do you find yourself you say you're A-list, right? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now in that A-list? Billboards? What?
I see myself on stages talking to people. A lot of people on my platform on Instagram, a lot of people call me a motivational speaker. And for a long time, I'm not a motivational speaker, but every day I'm showing up, I'm speaking, I'm pouring into people, I'm pouring into myself. But I've never just seen myself as that. And just as recently, I've been embracing and embodying that. And so I really want to I see myself into speaking engagements, touring, and just really just expanding on my brand and just getting that message out and planting those seeds, because I know where I started, I know where I am, and I know where I'm going. And so it's just keeping that energy flowing, keeping it A-list, just
where you started from. Let's go.
That's such a big question.
Let's go. I mean,
where did I start? Okay, so as far as where I started with Experience A-list?
Yes, let's do that. We can start there.
Okay.
And then we'll dive in a little bit more. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Experience A-list was I just changed my name to Experience A-List, but the whole concept of the brand, it started about 5 years ago when I had my daughter. And I was in, like many people have like toxic relationships. But at that point, I felt like I was just like at my lowest. And that was during the pandemic as well. And so we were already in like isolation. And I just felt like more called to just go into like my own personal isolation. And having a child is like a very like life-changing experience. And there was so much negativity around me. And I'm one person, I am willing to make the change and mind over matter things. And I've always been that way. And so I knew I was in a very tough situation. And I was like, okay, my spirit is calling me for something higher, but I don't know what it is. And so I started meditating. And then it started to become a domino effect. And then I started to dive deeper into spirituality, different religions, and learning about the chakra systems and like breath work. And then one thing led to another. And then I started building my community. And then I started speaking more. People were like, oh, you should do YouTube. Didn't do YouTube for a long time. Didn't start taking it serious until like last year. And now it's just like I host meditation circles. I have these accountability sessions. I do these self-love affirmation workshops. Like I'm really big on nurturing yourself so you're able to pour into others and plant seeds and like build the garden, because the earth is so abundant. There's so much life around us and we are a product of that. And I believe that when we tap into ourselves, we become back centered. If you believe in God or the universe or anything like that, really coming back to that center and really seeing like, wow, there's so many endless possibilities. Life is like ebbs and flows, the yin and yang of things. And it's just realizing like you really have the power to choose whether you're going to go down this path and be on this spectrum, or go down this path or be on that spectrum. So it's just like all about choices and really staying true to like what makes you feel like safe and secure and like your authentic self, and also being in alignment, because everybody's not for everybody, but there's somebody for everybody. And you'll find people on your journey who are in that alignment. And that's the big reason why I have experienced A-List and what it's been about.
And so now that you've done that, I guess, like say you remove toxic people out and away from you, and pretty much you don't give it that time of day or that energy. Because I feel like when you allow like toxicity or you allow negative people to like enter your realm, they control you.
Yeah.
And it could be from the mindset. It could be from the actions that you take on a daily basis. Like, let's just say you're drinking, right? You might have had a glass of wine on the weekends, but this toxic person drinks every day. You don't want to be left out because you care about that on a personal side. And then, so now you're drinking every day. Then you start to gain a little weight. Then your blood pressure starts to go a little higher. And then you're wondering, well, dang, can I live without the alcohol? Because I did before, but I want this person. So it seems like you really mastered and honed in on that. Like that one thing was like your meditation, and then it grew. And then you believe in planting a seed, which I've heard. And I definitely can sit there and say, wow, you mastered it, the A-List. So then in your community, right? Do you like have like stars of the week, like people that actually like excel from where they was to where they are now?
I haven't really tracked that, but I know that people who've literally started with me from day one, that come to like all of my meditation classes and like that really support me, I could literally see their growth from like when we started until now. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see us like grow together, and we're still growing, but I've actually built genuine like friendships. So it was first just like being social media friends, but then like it started to become like, I'm traveling to your city, you're traveling to my city, like I'm going out of state, and we're meeting each other. We're meeting each other at other networking events together out of state. Like it's turned into that, and it's such a beautiful thing because for a long time I felt like I didn't have like real friends, and like most of my friends were like online in my community. And when I started to go out and explore, I'm like, wow, this world is full of endless possibilities, and not to just stay like stuck in that one place, because you never know who you're going to inspire and who's inspiring you. It doesn't have to be somebody that's directly next to you. Why, that could be good, but it's just like great to have like a community of people who genuinely like support you, and you can really measure and see like the growth of things. And that's one thing that I've noticed in my community with a lot of women.
I like it. So are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'm both, but I'm more introvert.
Okay, because
a lot of people wouldn't think that because they see me
right, because you're smiling and you're like full of life, right?
Yeah.
But you had to have gone through something in order to become who you are now, right?
Yeah.
And then when you look at the old you versus the new you, would you change anything?
I would just say more boundaries because I feel like I've always been like a jolly. Everybody see me as like a jolly, chipper person.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in that I didn't have like as much like boundaries because I was always people pleasing in a sense.
Okay.
Versus now I don't operate from that. I'm still like my jolly person, but I have boundaries. And with those boundaries, I've learned to be more introverted. That's why I say I'm like introverted. It's like even after this, like I'm like but after this I went home and I'm just like gonna be chilling out. Like just if I bubble, I might pop on social media, but that's where a lot of it's like a recharge of me. So like that's how you get this energy is because of my isolation. It's because of me being an introvert. Because I am both. Like I could be like, woohoo, got all the energy. I'll charge you up right now. Like just like looking at you. So it's like a balance of it. But that's something that I've learned over the years to like just boundaries. That's the only thing that I would check. That's a lot of what I think about when I reflect back on things. It's like those boundaries of like not. And in my last YouTube video, it was the power of no. Not just saying no to other people, but no to yourself. Like, okay, no, you don't need to eat that right now, or no, you don't need to pick that up right now. Like just saying no, because that's how you develop a level of discipline. And I feel like successful people, they have that self-control, they have those boundaries, they have that discipline. And so it's just like mastering that.
And so is that something that like you teach your daughter?
Oh, yes.
And then now she's going to be a part of the A-list.
Yes.
Like, hey, you see my mama, now you see me.
Yeah, she be out here promoting. I'll be like, girl, I ain't even tell her to do that. But she knows, like, I instill, like, every day we talk. How are you feeling? What's going on? Like, saying affirmations. We have like she has her own affirmation that she's been saying since she was like 2 years old. Like she still remembers now. And it's like, I feel like when you plant those seeds into them, because they're the generations that are going to be basically taking over the world, in the next Gen like, Zs. Yeah. So, and taking care of us. So it's like, planting that seed in them is very important because that's planting the seed into like the future. And I feel like we've been in this paradigm, millennials, the baby boomers, Gen X and stuff. Like we've been in this paradigm, this system that was not conducive for us, and that really wasn't in alignment with like our soul's calling and our soul's purpose to make our lives more like fruitful. I feel like now the millennials and the Gen Zs and the alphas, they're more in an awareness state. Like you hear a lot about mental health and just like holistic wellness and just everybody kind of getting into that awareness of self and your body. And back then that kind of wasn't like a huge thing. People still did it, but it wasn't like on a mass scale, especially now because we have social media. But like even just talking about your feelings, being vulnerable, like I feel like it's just like we have to be able to, this is a part of life. And I feel like we've missed out on like a big part of that, being authentic and vulnerable, because we've been told a false narrative of, no, you can't show your feelings. Oh, we don't talk about those things, or just get on with it. And it's just like, no, like I need to process this, and things build up, and that's how you start to become in those toxic relationships and those toxic mindsets. So yeah, just really just planting those seeds and like knowing yourself.
I think you said something very important, which was the boundaries thing, right?
Yeah.
Setting your boundaries. I feel like there's a time and place for everything, right? So again, you're at work. If something happened to your loved one, okay, I get it. Hey, I need a second. Either you're leaving or you're sad at that moment, right?
Yeah.
But you and another coworker get into a argument or a disagreement, and then it escalates up to here. I think that then and there is not the proper time to lose your shit.
Yeah.
Just to be like, yo, okay, cool, I'm good. But handle it in a way, because you said it earlier too, like you've learned to like use your words in a respectful tone and keep that energy like, yo, I don't fuck with you, but trust me, when I clock out, if you want this, no problem. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Because I actually had an incident with a coworker last year at my last job. But at that point, I kind of like, because I worked as a night auditor. And so it wasn't really like, it's overnight. So it's like, there's really nobody like around. So the next shift was coming and I went to the bistro. And this is a person that's not in my department, but he was really ticking me off. But I was already agitated with the job. And so it was like, I felt like my spirit was just calling me to just like even leave. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, no, I felt like I was in that scarcity. Like, I need this job and whatnot. And things were just like happening where it was just like really testing me. I feel like God, how God drops those pebbles and stuff. And that particular day, it was December 30th. That particular day, I just could not hold it. He was just gaslighting me, like coming after me. I flipped out. Nobody was around. There was no customers or nothing. But he was there. I flipped out and I was like, you know what? I don't need to be in a place where this is coming out of me because this is not me at all. Like, I've never like flipped out. But for me to even get like that, I was like, this is not a safe place for me. I need to go. I did it. And then I just went full entrepreneurship for like 10 months. And it was like the best decision of my life. And it really taught me a lot about like communicating. Because I feel like I do communicate a lot. But I feel like I have to be able to like not be in a scarcity mindset. Really just like be in a place where it is safe. Like my current job right now is great. Like the people are good to me. You know what I mean? I don't get triggered and like, stuff like that. And I'm not there from like just being like, because I just need to, like, it's like, because I want to, like, this is something I have experience in, I have skills in and stuff like that. And so, and, I prayed on it and I feel like God has aligned me into like places and positions now where it is safe for me, where it is like, it does challenge me professionally and helps me grow, but it doesn't take me away from like my authentic self.
True enough, because some jobs can do that though.
Yeah,
they I would just want to speak on maybe your hair, maybe the way you wear your hair. They don't like it, and they, you look apart. You know what I'm saying? The way you dress or the way you talk.
Yeah,
they try to change.
They nitpick too much of your business. All this. Yeah,
right.
I know.
Do you see yourself leaving that job within the next, like, I'd say, few years?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't stay there for a few years. That's not my dream job, but
what is your dream job then? So just
really to like be a full-time entrepreneur and like
what does that look like? I didn't mean to cut you off, but what does that look like?
Full-time entrepreneurship?
Yeah, what does that look like for like A-list?
For A-list.
Big A, not
big
little.
A, yes. Having brand deals, really like pushing my creative arts because I am a baker, so like having my dessert company go more like corporate as far as like bigger events and stuff like that. And then with Experience A-List, having my speaking engagement and also like incorporating my art because I do art as well. And that aligns with my brand through the meditation. I do meditative art like with the chakras, the ones that I showed you already. And like, that's something I'm very passionate. I've been doing art since I was a child. My dad is an artist. My granddad is an artist. And I really just wanted to like push myself to like really profit off of those things and like inspire others as well. I've seen other people do it and I know I can do it. So that's really my biggest.
And what's stopping you from doing it? To actually, since you said it's like you had that other job, got into a altercation at work, and then you was like, yo, I don't need it. And then you left for 10 months. And so within those 10 months, you had to full hustle, grind, and get gritty with it and lose some sleep over it. But you made it. So you made it for 10 months. So what now from 10 months, you made it in 10 months. Now, what is it going to take for you to actually take that leap of faith? To
build a team, like getting with people who can help me. Because it's like I do this all by myself. Like there's not like I go to somebody like, hey, can you like research this for me? Or like, do you I know people, but I feel like it's just utilizing my network of people.
Okay.
I did do a lot within 10 months. Like I launched my website. I've started doing catering like events like parties and stuff like that. Something I wasn't doing before.
Right.
And so it was like a lot learning about like the business aspect and then also getting into like mentorship and things like that. So what has been stopping me was just like the focus of it and just like really like, okay, what is the steps to like sell this art? I already started looking up art shows. That's some for like next year, and I already started looking up the requirements. I have my LLC already because I used to do home decor. I stopped that, but now I'm gonna focus more so on the art aspect of that as well, and just like really finding out like what do I need to get there. Because for a long time it's just been my idea, like okay, I want to do this, but I've been distracted with like other things, and I'm not distracted anymore. Like I'm just here making it happen.
Living your life.
Yeah, like living it intentionally and with purpose too. So did that answer your question?
I did. I mean, you did. Like
awesome.
you said you about to be in the art shows and everything.
Yeah, I am. I got some dates coming up in 2 months.
2 months? Okay.
Yeah,
talk about your big shit 2025. Can we get a sneak peek? Like, tell us about it. Where can we see it? Or where's it going to be so we know?
This art show, I believe, is going to be in Coral Gables. It's like February 9th and 10th. I have to look back at my thing. But yeah, so I have this series that I'm doing. Okay. So if you're familiar with like the chakras and like the colors, I started this one. It was just so like abstract at first. Like I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was inspired by like the colors of the chakras, like the reds, the orange, the yellows, the greens. And so I plan to make a series. I already did one of them. It's like red and orange. And everyone that I showed it to, they're like, wow, like this is such a powerful piece. And so just to continue that like collection and series of that and just like venture off into new things. But that's what I'm working on right now with this.
Big shit popping 2025. So now would that allow you to leave your job now?
Oh, yeah. It would. I mean, I enjoy I feel like my job helps me and like to like advance more because it takes money to make money.
Facts.
And I know like with my businesses, they're not at the highest profitable level that I want it to be. But knowing what I know now and the people that I've been meeting, I believe like 2025, she like it's different. Like I feel it, I see it. Like we here.
Because I remember like you said at the event, the energy. Mm-hmm. And then the laws of attraction.
Yes.
You said that you put something out there in the universe and I think you wrote about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Journal, I should say. And then next thing you know, you're at an event, X, Y, and Z happens.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yo, these things are aligning. Bet. I mean,
yeah.
I like that.
And I've been fasting. You remember I told you I was fasting that whole week. I didn't really know, like I fasted with intention of alignment, but I didn't know what was going to like exactly happen. And as soon as I started talking to you, it was just like a domino effect of just like everything just started happening. I was like, whoa. I was just thinking about this. I was just writing about this. I was just like, it was just like aligning perfectly. And so just those little moments alone inspired me even more to take action and to just like, I might not know exactly how it's going to form or I can't exactly see the end of it, but I know that I'm in the path of going to like the right place. And it's just having that faith. That's one thing about me with building my relationship with God and being in like isolation and in this meditative practice that I have day and night. It's just like I don't have fear. I don't have doubts. It's like, okay, if it didn't work out, that wasn't meant to work out. Let's move on. How can we make this better? Where the room for improvement? And I'm just like a heavy believer in that. And I feel like that's why my energy is so like high and like I have such a high optimism. It's like, no, everything is not going to be perfect. We're going to have our rainy days. We're going to have setbacks, but we can't allow that to stop us. Like I said, we make it happen. We don't make excuses.
I like it. Did you go like the Art Basel? Did you go there?
I actually wasn't feeling well during Art Basel. I actually had like 2 events that I was supposed to go to, but I didn't get to make it. Like it was horrible.
Just that.
But yeah, definitely next year. Like I did it last year. I had went to a few events, but this year I didn't make
Are you going to end up throwing like your own event? Because it looks like you can almost throw your own event.
No, really. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like something like kind of like small and like not necessarily small and intimate, but like kind of intimate in a way where it's just like a few of you guys come together and like
I had the vision in my mind.
You do
like,
art and say we can make that happen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It happen.
Definitely believe in making it happen. I've learned for me to like journal, right? To like get my thoughts out my head and put them into, and then my emotions and everything. And like you said, when you saw the podcast with Lisa Lovett, the thing that I took from it most is that, like I said, I would say men would rather be undesirable and in the sense of and like nonchalant in order to be and then to be vulnerable, right? Because vulnerability allows the people or energy to come in to hurt you, to damage you or distort you. And then that sometimes can lead to other things, alcoholism, drug abuse, toxic relationships. And then, but we're taught to like, I would say I would wear my heart on my sleeve. Used to do that a lot because I just love life. Like that's what I was thinking. But after learning and growing up more as time went on, nah, fuck that. Fuck love, fuck people, fuck everything. because it does something to you, right?
Yeah.
In turn, like you said, you was in a toxic situation, but after you got out of it, you saw clearer. You got like in tune with self, with God, and then now you're on this journey. And I don't know, like you're not married, right?
No,
but
not yet.
Not yet, but you plan on being married.
Yes.
So again, things are gonna align, right? And so like that's how I look at it for my life. Like a lot of relationships didn't work, and I always question why. But then as I grew and learned more, it's just like you had that season. People are meant for a season and a reason, and that's all it is, and just leave it there. I believe that the laws of attraction will attract, and it will be a divine line where nothing's going to tear you apart. Like you can go through thick and thin, you can go through back and forth, up and down, all around. They still going to be there. You still going to be there. And I think it has something to do too with your spirit, right?
Yes.
Because like I'm learning to get closer to God. Like I mean, I feel like I fell off a little bit, and then I started going to church more, right? And like about a month ago, like or so, like it was my 9-year-old son's birthday, and I was talking to my dad, and we actually read a scripture, and he showed me a scripture to read. And when we read it, like I read it, then we talked about it, and then I was like, wow, man, I appreciate that. I needed more of this.
Yeah.
Because reading the word, and sometimes you can just read the word and not understand it. So I didn't understand it. But we sat down and we dissected it, and I understood it from that point on. And I was like, yo, when I get into church, like I'm looking at, like I hear what the preacher is saying, but I'm actually looking at the words, and I'm actually internalizing the words, and then I'm formulating the words to formulate my emotions and my feelings and my faith to be like, yo, God, I don't know how this gonna work, but we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, when all is on you, when all bets on you, like say you got to bet on yourself. And I feel like you really betted on yourself in a way where it's like you're A-list. And then it's going to be hard to find you after a while. You know what I'm saying? Get you a little couple of VAs. Yeah. Everybody you're just running. You'd be like, yo, I haven't been asleep in 2 days, 4 days. So I think tour. I see a little tour coming on. You know,
I'm here for it. Love it. I love working, honestly. Like before I had my daughter, so when I went to school for like hospitality, so I did 2 years at Miami-Dade, and then I did the rest of my years at FIU. I literally used to take 5 classes, and I used to have them either Tuesday, Thursday. Like I used to try to keep it on like everything on a consistent thing. 5 classes, summer classes on that. People are like, how did you graduate so fast? I'm like, listen, I'm here doing it, working 2 jobs and doing an internship. You would have thought like I had like 3 kids. And that was my life, like my whole college life up until like I had my daughter, like taking it like just really just like heavy into my work. Like I love to work. I love to learn. And I feel like you just never can stop like learning. There's something to learn and to do all the time. And you saying that, like, I'm ready for it. Like, I love it. And me putting in the work now, even with my YouTube channel and just like growing, like that's what it takes. And I feel like I had lost that a bit when I did have my child, because I felt like everything that I thought I knew or that I was, that wasn't really me.
What do you mean?
Like, as far as like friendships, how I viewed, I guess, love and intimate partnerships and stuff like that, it was really missing God. Like, God was, it's like, I went to church and I was like, doing those things, but I don't feel like I was really there. And then it's like when I went into that isolation and stuff and just like really had to sit with myself and the truth and take the accountability for like what I had allowed to transpire in my life and where I was, it's like I found God for real. I heard God for real. And like now, I pray like 5 times a day. I have an AM and a PM routine. I pray in the morning before I get up, before I go anywhere, step out the door, wherever I end up. And then at nighttime, I have a whole night routine. I pray before I get in the shower. I pray while I'm in the shower, and I pray when I get out the shower. I have a scripture that I read, Psalms 23. 23 is my favorite number, by the way. I read that every single night.
Jordan.
I have my daughter at 23.
Jordan.
I read that scripture every single night before I go to bed, and I say my piece. And that's just been my life, like, heavily for like the past almost 2 years.
Okay, so would you say that you said you lost a piece of yourself and that was the connection to God?
Yeah.
Now, learning that, was it a turning point to end the relationship, or what, did you have the support and you guys did it together?
Like me and him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I had to leave the relationship.
Because you went one way and he never did another way.
I had already checked out mentally and emotionally. Mm-hmm. It was just like the physical aspect of leaving it, because it was just like, I just had a baby, like, but it got so much better, like, after, like,
don't say it so.
No, like,
she said it so. It got so much better. It got
so much better. That was like the best decision of my life, and I love that we're not together. Like, we're good, but like, I love it because it's just like, I can be me in peace. Mm-hmm. Like, we weren't compatible, and I had to accept that. And I feel like some people, they stay together with people because they have children, but they're not really, it's not working. Like, it's too much friction. And I feel like that doesn't just mess up your energy, your spirit, and like the dynamic of your life, but also your children. Mm-hmm. And because they see that, they feed off that energy. And, so I feel like you just really have to, if you can't grow with somebody, if you all can't come to terms and like say, let's do this and be mature and like put aside those differences and like work on things, then you shouldn't, like, don't force it. Like, God will be telling you like, hey, like, no, this is not working. Move on.
So don't force the hand.
Yeah. And even for both of our lives, it's just like been better that way. And I accept that and I love that. And I know that it's preparing me for like the person that I want to be with. I know who I want to be with. I mean, I know exactly how he looks or, the name, everything, but I know who I want to be with. And it's just like really staying disciplined within myself, having that patience within, and not building an illusion. I used to do that. I used to build like an illusion, like, ooh, I like the idea of this person and but not in the potential of people. But it's like, what is the reality of them? And is God there? God was missing in a lot of my relationships. And so, yeah, I'm a God's girl.
That's it. God-fearing woman, right?
God-fearing woman.
So now you have a village that helps you with your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a problem. My problem is not the help. It's kind of like trying to delegate, like, who's going to help me with what. Because it's like everybody is just so, like, hands-on with just, like, everything. And it allows me to, like, explore my creative endeavors and my entrepreneurship as well. And I'm just so grateful. And I feel like me just being like a genuine person and like having my relationship with God and like even my meditative practice has literally just helped me have this life that I have now. Like, I know I wouldn't be able to have this without God, without my faith. Like, there's women who struggle being single mothers and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, like, I literally say thank you sometimes I just cry because I'm like, wow, like, this could have went so many different ways. But God. Okay, but God. Let me tell y'all, like, really just keeping that, like, really knowing yourself and staying grounded and true into you. Like, there's nothing, I don't feel like there's nothing I can really go through that I won't be able to get over. Like, I've been through so much, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And I'm still like, you know, going through journey in life. We always will be. But I feel like there was just like a big like peak or something that I just went over that kind of gave me that like, okay, this is how life is going. This is how life is going to go. And it's just like kind of seeing that blueprint, that pattern like of things. Like there's going to be new tests and new levels and challenges. But like the ultimate base and blueprint of it, like I kind of have a gist of like, okay, I'm going to need to have this type of strength and mindset in order to get here, in order to go there. And like having those like boundaries and that discipline. I feel like that's a big thing. Boundaries, discipline, and accountability.
You just spoke about me, goddamn shit. Because I got the 21-day accountability workbook challenge, right? And it talks about those different things. And there's some other elements that you mentioned that I know I'm gotta work on consistently and daily, just with myself in general. But like hearing you say all that, let me ask you this: when it comes down, you said you've been through a lot. What was the hardship financially?
Not investing my money properly and being Captain Save Everyone. Because when I love you and I care about you, I will literally give you my last without thinking about the long-term effects. If I got it, hey. If you need it, hey, let's, like, I was just always being that willing to like help others, whether it was my family, or like my intimate partners, like stuff like that. I was just pouring out so much. And at the end of the day, it
bled you dry.
It bled me dry. And then it's like when I really needed it, like nobody like here.
Nobody was there.
Like,
And so then you said, I think you went through things physically. Is that a mental breakdown or mental breakthrough or what? You said a physical
physically
part.
Like physical abuse.
How did you, now, speaking of that, how did you break free of that?
I just had to put my foot down and really get close with God and take that.
I thought you were going to say you picked up a glass bottle or something.
I can't say that. Can I say that? I can't.
You can say whatever you want. It's real shit. This is the unfiltered part.
Because they're going to be like, "Ooh, you crazy, eh?"
No, this is the unfiltered part. Because when you fight, like, I'll tell you this. When you fight back, right, it's not necessarily always physical, right? But sometimes you fight back with your words. Sometimes you fight back with your actions in the sense of, hey, I got a lawyer. Hey, I got the cops right here. And they see you 1 second, they're going to arrest you or they're going to beat you up. or my big brother is coming through. My uncle don't play about me and he's going to handle that. I actually
didn't tell nobody. I didn't really tell nobody until like 2 years later. Oh my God, if my mom sees this, she's going to be like,
But why are you being quiet now? This is the part where we get into it. Like, but you made it through. But
I tried to go to the police, but I didn't because I was just
scared.
I was trying to spare the person. Like,
but you stayed.
I stayed, but I left.
You stayed. Why?
Because I was scared and I felt bad.
Felt bad for what? He was beating you up, not you beating him up.
Well, he didn't beat me up, but we was fighting.
Oh, y'all was throwing hands.
We was throwing hands.
So it's like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul type shit, like some slow.
We was fighting. I was slapping. I was taking a rake. I was like getting bleeds. I was doing everything, grabbing weapons, and yeah, it was crazy.
Damn.
Or driving my car, almost ran him over. I was pregnant when I was doing this. It was crazy. Oh my God, nobody knows that. So you, all the hormones and you running people over and you pregnant? Smushing people.
I
was smushing him, yeah. It was really toxic. It was really, really toxic.
Damn.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. You're right.
Damn, did you just laugh?
Oh, yeah. Dang, nobody really knew this.
He's like, Mom was right.
Yeah.
So you didn't listen to your mom?
No. I was fighting against my mom.
Why?
Because me and my mom had our own issues, like growing up, and I feel like I had a lot of resentment towards her. So it's like when I got older and I felt like I could speak my mind, especially I was having a child, I'm like, you can't tell me what to do. Leave me alone. Like, I didn't want to hear nothing she was saying. Like, It was just, she was already agitating me. And so it was just like her trying to like butt in. It was just like making me more agitated. And I felt like I was like really in love with this person. And I feel like with me, when it comes to love, if I love you, I'm with you type of thing. I know that kind of sounds toxic, like, oh, through right or wrong, whatever. But like for me, it's just kind of like, if you're my person, I'm going to stick with you and I'm going to try to, you know, make shit work. And I was just that's how, that was a mindset that I was in.
Okay.
And I was just, this is my person. I love them. And whatever we go through, we just go through. We just gonna get through it. But that wasn't love. That was really toxic. And there was just like a lot of, God wasn't in there. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the devil energy was at play. And I wasn't in tune with myself. I was just outside, like listening to him and then like my friends. And then it was just kind of like, I wasn't really having a mind of my own. So it's like, I was kind of just operating off of like the external and not really my internal. It was like, there were certain things like, okay, I feel like this, so I'm just do this. But then it was just like, okay, but what about this person? He said this. And then like, she said this. So it's just like, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. And just kind of like releasing my power and not really having control over like what I was doing and like what I was like accepting. And so it just really was just a very bad situation. And I was like really at my lowest. And then it wasn't until like I was about to have my baby where I was getting to like that deep meditative like sense of self. And then after I had her, that's when like everything just like, I just tuned him out. I wasn't hearing nothing he was saying. I stopped fighting with him. I stopped like, and then I just like, you know what? You don't have no power over me. Be gone. And that's exactly what happened.
And that was it.
That was it.
Magic. But now, a part of that, did you ever mend the relationship with your mom?
Yeah. Recently, like 2 years ago, I want to say. After that relationship happened, yeah. About 2 years ago, I started like really being vulnerable with my mom and like talking to her. And like now I can like really have like conversations with her. Before I just kind of like...
Right. So now, do you open that same door? Like, I know your daughter's a little taller or whatnot, but would you open up that door so that to make sure that she can come to you with anything and everything, and you handle it accordingly?
That's why I talk to her every day. I'd be like, "What's up, Chetty? Like, what's going on? Tell me." Like, and sometimes she'd be scared. I know when she like has to tell me something, because she has this tone and she starts doing it, and that's when I'm like, tell me. I just sit there and like, tell me. And then she'll open up and she'll tell me. Like I said, like I'm more responsive than I am reactive. Okay. And so sometimes she'll just like have word vomit and she'll just like telling me this. And I'll be like, oh, really? That's happening. Like this is happening. Like, okay. And I just appreciate that so much, because it's like, okay, at the end of the day, just tell me the truth. Because it's like, I would hate, like for me, my throat chakra is very blocked. So there's a lot of things, like how I just said, like me just saying what I had just said, like, oh, Mom, you were right. Like I did not open up to tell my mom anything. Like I would just keep it bottled in. I didn't feel safe, like talking about my feelings, my emotions and stuff like that. My mom, she was a young parent. She got pregnant at 17. My grandma had her at 17. I had my baby at 23. So it was like a big difference, even though it's still young, but like, you know, she was under the pressure just coming out of high school, having to go to college, and like my dad not being around. So it was just like having to be a single mom, and then it was just like a lot of pressure on her. So it's like she only did as best as she could with what she had, and dealing with her own emotions, like becoming an adult and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, children are a lot, and having to make sure you get them through school and things like that. And me just being curious, and like, she just probably not having the patience to like deal with just like everything. And so it just put me in like this shell. And I felt like I started to just kind of conjure things in my mind of like how I thought life should be, and just like being quiet. And then like kind of finding myself in situations where I am being taken advantage of because I don't know how to set those boundaries, and not knowing how to be comfortable with saying no and things like that. So, but now it's like much, much better. And like now it's like, I still remember when I was in kindergarten. I remember the things that traumatized me. And to see my daughter in kindergarten now, I just make sure I'm just like very aware, like being on the PTA and like, you know, being involved with the teachers and like making sure like, okay, I'm being present because I don't want to miss. Like, I know she's going to go through her own things. She's going to have her own traumas. But I don't want it to be like how it was when I was younger. Like, my mom not knowing exactly how I felt, or like not feeling safe to tell her how she's making me feel because she's already under pressure and she's feeling like X, Y, and Z. Like, I always make sure I keep that, create a sacred and safe space for her, because at the end of the day, she's going to have to go through life and there's things that I can't protect her from or things like that. So it's just like being able to have that ground of like, hey, I know my mom will help me no matter how bad it is. It's stuff that she do and I'd be like, why would you do that? But I'm just like, you still growing. Like, you just gonna have to, like, I can't be like too crazy obsessed or like obsessive about like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all was that age. We all did things that, you know what I mean? And just really keeping that line of communication open.
Now, you fixed the relationship minute with your mom. Let's go to your dad. Where is that relationship?
So my dad was a present, absent father.
What is that? Break
that
down.
So the things that he needed to be present for, he wasn't. Like, he was just absent, but like emotionally, he was always there. It's to this day. So he has like over 8 kids, and I'm like number 2. And I'm the one that's only closest to him. Like, none of my siblings deal with him. Like, they just completely tapped out and done. For me, it was just like, I just had this like deep emotional connection. Like, I would speak to my dad more about things than I would my mom, even though he wasn't like there, like how he needed to be. So, and me and my dad, we've had our ups and downs, but for the most part, like, he's gone through his life and the things that, you know how they say, like, life catches up to you. He's at that stage right now. And even though he wasn't the best as far as like what he needed to do, I just had this like deep affection, emotional connection to him because he doesn't really have nobody. And I can understand why, because it's like the choices that he's made. But we've always had that emotional like bond where it's kind of like, no matter what, I still love you unconditionally. And I've always felt like more safer like speaking to my dad and like talking to him than I did my mom, which is weird because it's like she was the one that was like the provider and she was there and he wasn't. So it's like a weird dynamic type of thing.
Did you tell him that the abuse that you were going through? Did you tell him?
No.
So you just kept it in?
Yeah.
So are you just going to put this in like a memoir or a book or something?
I didn't. Well, it's crazy because, sorry, Dad, I don't know if you're going to see this, but he's abusive as well. He's been abusive to the women, my mom, and stuff like that. He's never like hit me or anything, but he has a history of being in and out of jail and like being abusive. So it's kind of like the history kind of repeated itself in that sense. I didn't necessarily tell him because it was just kind of like, I remember one time I did cry to him and I was just like, why weren't you there? Like, why didn't you do right? Like, type of thing. Like, I'm going through things that you don't even understand that I'm going through. I'm pregnant, but I have a kid, and I'm not happy, type of thing. Like, why couldn't you be a real father to me, type of thing. But I never told him about that because he's kind of like cuckoo. And so, yeah.
Dad would have went AWOL on him.
Yeah, so, and he's just, yeah.
He's just there.
He's just there.
But then, I mean, that's good, though. I mean, that you now, he gets to see it. Now he gets to know, right? And sometimes the apology that we're looking for will never come.
It actually did come.
What?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago? Well,
yeah.
2 weeks ago. Okay, well, we'll say that. Well, the apology.
But it was that's a long time.
Right, but a long time. But like I said, you've grown and it took time. And like I said, as a parent, we don't know everything, right? Mm-hmm. We don't do everything right. You know, we try to maybe cookie corner this thing, but then if it doesn't parallel or whatever, it's not going to work. But I would say sometimes the apology that we're looking for, we're not going to have. We're not going to get it right then when we actually need it. We might get it afterwards. Like you said, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago to get that apology over, let's say, I would say 5 years ago or more, then it's like, okay, I can accept that. But it's, for me, like you being the mom and others, I say, your apology, like unapologetic attitude now is like, yo, you should have been did this. You know what I'm saying? And I think too, that's one of the things I have to look at too, like, cause like being a father is one thing. And I think being a dad is another.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I feel like the challenges that come along with that, man, it's so much. It's a lot because we are taught to be strong, never fold, never cry, never somber, never sit and weigh on something so heavily that it affects everything else around us because the ship has to keep on rolling.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same thing as a mom. You know, first time mom, I think you go through those things, the highs, the lows, the emotions, and sometimes of not being heard, right?
Yeah.
Because there's things that you love to talk about, but hey, you're a little person and can't talk to you right now. You know, and she's gonna grow and be this wonderful queen and top of the A-list. And like I say, my boys, they're gonna grow and be kings and different things of that nature. So I say, man, I like that. I like that. And now that you're embellishing and you're releasing the things out so that the people who needs to know and who sees this episode, they would have to say, you know what? I was like her. Or, hey, where can I get into your meditation class? Or hey, how did you handle this situation? Because I'm currently going through this right now.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be able to talk to a lot of women out there. And I think you're gonna not just touch one, but you're gonna touch a gazillion of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like it, man. I definitely can say for the most part, you came a long way. And you made it through. You made it through your financial hardship. You made it through your abusive relationship. You made it through like motherhood that you're still going through. Mm-hmm. And you're an entrepreneur, you know, and you're finna launch and do everything that you like catapult in your chakras. Yeah. And it's going to align. I like that. I like that for you. Do you think right now, what is one thing that you would change or you would tell your younger self?
Don't focus on the love of other people. Focus on the love of yourself and God. Like really get into that and the boundaries. Those boundaries, man. Dang. I even look at certain people and be like, oh my gosh, they're so strong. And like, they say no and they're so unapologetic. And I'm just like, me over here, I just feel so like weak and like jellyback and people pleasing. I just didn't know how to say no. I just didn't like disappointing people. And it's like now it's just like, I'm not mean. It's just like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not tolerating that. I can't help you with that.
Like no, no is no.
Yeah, like it's no. You know something so funny today?
Go ahead.
I was at work and this guy came in my job and he's coming in a few times before and he was looking at me in a way and I'm like, oh my God, I could tell he got eyes on me, but I'm gonna play it off, like whatever. He asked me a question, I answered it, and then he was leaving. He was like, oh, you know, he's like, I don't mean to be so like, you know, forward, but you are really beautiful and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. He said, are you taken? I said, I'm taken by God. And then he laughed. That's wild. He laughed and he was like, I think we all have a relationship with God. I was like, yeah, we do. I was like, thank you though, but have a great day.
Oh, you cut him off. You shut it down.
Yeah. But then he went 2 seconds later and he started talking to my coworker and asked her out.
Did your coworker take it?
She did.
Thirsty thought.
No. But I had told her and everybody was like, oh my God. I was like, girl, you know. But like, I don't like that because I'm in my work setting. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say like, hey, what time do you get off? Whatever. Like, I would respect that more. But like, kind of being in that, like, no, like, I'm not going to like, I don't even like giving people my number. You my Instagram.
Facts.
You can be my client.
You can be my client.
You like sweets? That's my line. You like desserts? You like sweets? Follow me at Caribbean's Baking. But no, like having that boundaries. But I feel like the old me kind of would have felt more pressured to like engage more and like feel like I had to like. But that's like the people pleasing part of me because he wasn't like mean or like he wasn't like nasty or like aggressive. Right. He was sweet about it but it was just kind of like you said, that's true. But it's kind of like time and place type of thing, and like really knowing to say no, focus, and boundaries, having those boundaries. So yeah.
Anyways, back to what I said. Thirsty thought. That's what I think.
No,
he's not thirsty.
Oh, you talking about him? I thought you talking about her.
I mean, he was thirsty.
He was. He was looking for his wife, but it wasn't me.
Exactly. You gotta look in the camera when you say that.
It wasn't me. Sorry, couldn't help you.
Sorry, can't help you.
Baby, like some desserts. I got some for you. Brownies, cookies, pies, cakes, you name it.
I love that. Listen, overall, like now, did your coworker still? Let me see this. Did your coworker? Did she go on with him? Did she go on a date with him?
No, this just happened before I came.
Oh shit! Yeah,
this literally just happened, but she ain't. I thought she was like, "Oh really?" She's like, "Oh my god, no." I'm like, wow. Don't do it. He probably going to the next store to ask somebody else.
So he was just
it's Christmas.
around.
Look, it's Christmas time. He's trying to find a little Christmas boo. Santa baby.
This is wild. But now, let me ask you this. Since you do bakery and all that stuff, did you bake something for your job?
They kept asking me today. I told them I'd bring some on Thursday. But I do be baking sometimes if I have leftovers. Oh,
they get the leftovers. You see that, guys? Y'all get the leftovers.
Yeah. They love it. They support me. They be subscribed to my YouTube channel. They did my reviews. They be ordering for me. Like, it'd be nice. I love it.
So then your exit is going to be pretty discreet and pretty quiet. You're going to come with a little cake and then be like, hey guys, celebrate. I'm gone.
Yeah. I don't know. I might keep it though for like part-time. Cause I like my discount. It's really nice.
Okay.
Like
discount?
Really, it's really nice.
Big discount?
Big discount.
Hey, listen, gotta like it.
Their clothes ain't cheap at all.
Hey, gotta like it, gotta love it.
Yeah.
But I think too, one of the biggest things I'd say is congratulations.
Thank you.
Like you have arrived to that pivotal point that you said before, like name changing, you pivot, growth out of toxic relationships and friends, mending the relationships with certain people is your mom, keeping the same boundaries that you have with your dad the same, and living your life free. Yeah. With no stress. Well, I'm not saying no stress, but the stresses are minimum. So, I mean, I like that. And I'd like to say congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm just so happy. Like, I'm just inspired. You inspired me.
Hey, listen. It's all in alignment, right?
It is in alignment.
And that's how we do. And like I said, if I never honestly could say, if Rich didn't tell me about it or showed me that, like, put me in different rooms or help me get to different rooms. Like I said, I wouldn't have met you. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have met Dan. I wouldn't have met none of these people. So I have to say it's always about levels to it and its structure, right? And sometimes like you go through things, like I probably was going all over the place at one point with everything on pod and just trying to do this, trying to do that. And I was like this close to like catching FOMO. You know what I'm saying? So the alignments and the things do work. And I have to say, like, shout out Rich, shout out Dan, shout out Sims, shout out the whole Attractive Mindset. You know what I'm saying? And just shout out to myself, right? I have to give myself credit because I really want it bad enough. And I'm going to go get it by any means necessary.
Yeah, period.
You know what I'm saying? I'm Mr. Make It Happen.
You're not making no excuses.
That's it. No excuses. I mean, so like, I appreciate you for being here. And so how can people get in contact with you and find you?
Yes, so you can follow me on all platforms at Experience A-List, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. I know they're about to ban it, but Twitter, Pinterest, Experience A-List. And then also, if you want to support and find my bakery, it's called Carrie Bell's Baking on all platforms as well. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And everything sweet that you want, we do it.
Yes, okay, hey, get your sweets, guys. Listen, guys, this has been another episode of Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. We got the big A. You know what I'm saying? So listen, tune in, click like, subscribe. This is another episode that you will not be sorry that you watched. You have to see it. Click like, subscribe. Hey, we out.